Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is for 11th class, subject chemistry, and our today's topic is from the lesson equilibrium. And the topic which we are going to discuss is the ionization of acids and bases. Also, we will try to know what are the strong and weak electrolytes. First, what is ionization? As we know, ions are the charged bodies, or we can say ions are the charged species which are formed when the atoms lose or gain electrons. So here we have ionization of a compound. Now ionization of a compound simply means a process. Ionization here means a process where or in which a neutral molecule splits into charged ions, whether positive or negative, when exposed in a solution. When exposed in a solution. So, ionization is the process in which the molecules split or the molecules break into charged ions when dissolved in a solution, when exposed in a solution. That process is called ionization. Arrhenius. According to Arrhenius theory, acids are the compounds that dissociate in aqueous medium to generate hydrogen ions. That is, acids are the substances that dissociate to produce hydrogen ions, and the bases are the compounds which produce hydroxyl ions in aqueous medium. This theory, Arrhenius theory, which gives this definition of acids and bases on the basis of this dissociation of compound or on the basis of production of this hydrogen and hydroxyl ions. This theory plays an important role in explaining the ionization of acids and bases, as mostly this ionization takes place in aqueous medium. That is, compounds or molecules they produce ions mostly in aqueous medium. On the basis of this, the degree of ionization of acids and bases, we can determine the strength of acids and bases. When a compound or molecule is able to produce more and more hydrogen ions, we can say the compound or the substance is more acidic, or we can say strongest. So strength of this acids or bases, it can be determined from the ionization potential. It can be determined from this ionization. Hence, the degree of ionization of acids and bases, it depends on the degree of dissociation of compound into their constituent ions. That is, into the positive and negative ions. The degree of dissociation of compound, the degree of ionization of a compound, that is into acids and bases, it depends upon the degree of dissociation. It depends upon the degree of dissociation. Strong acids and bases have high degree of ionization in comparison to weak acids and bases. That is, strong acids and strong bases, they dissociate completely in a solution to produce large number of ions. On the other hand, the weak acids and bases, they do not dissociate completely to produce more and more these ions. A strong acid implies good proton donor, whereas strong base implies good proton acceptor. Here in this example, we have Ha aqueous plus water. gives H3O positive plus A aqueous. This is the simple reaction which shows dissociation of weak acid here. Ionization of acids and bases. The process in which neutral molecule, the process in which a neutral molecule splits into charged ions when exposed in a solution is referred to as the ionization of a compound, or simply a process where a molecule splits into charged bodies is called ionization of a compound. And the compound these acids are the compounds that dissociate in the aqueous medium in order to generate the hydrogen ions, while the bases are those compounds that furnish the hydroxyl ions in the aqueous medium. The degree of ionization of acids and bases, it helps us to determine the strength. On the basis of this ionization, different acids and basic compounds, the degree of ionization may differ. As we try to know this ionization of acids produces these hydrogen ions. The degree of ionization refers to the strength of an acid or base. A strong acid is said to be completely ionized in water. A strong acid is said to be completely ionized in water, whereas a weak acid is said to only ionize partially. That is, they cannot produce more number of these hydrogen ions. They can produce only less number, and we call them as weak acids. So the different degree of ionization of acids. There are also different levels of weakness, for which there is simple quantitative way to express. Since the ionization of a weak acid is in equilibrium, the chemical equation and an equilibrium constant expressed can be stated here in this equation. This is the ionization of acid. Say we have taken any acid. When this acid is dissolved in water, it gives H3O positive plus A negative. Where the dissociation constant, we can say K is equal to H3O positive A negative divided by HA. Equilibrium constant for ionization of an acid defines its acid ionization constant. However, the stronger the acid, the larger will be the acid ionization constant. This means that a strong acid is better proton donor. A strong acid is better proton donor. That is, a strong acid can produce more protons. As a result, the concentration of the product in the number of this ionization constant, the stronger the acid, the larger is the acid ionization constant. Similarly, in case of ionization of bases, some bases like lithium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide, they get completely dissociated into their ions in an aqueous medium, which is referred to as strong base. On the other hand, some bases, they dissociate partially to produce less number of these hydroxide ions or hydroxyl ions. So they are termed as weak bases. Therefore, the ionization of these bases yields hydrochloric ion as hydroxyl ion as a similar expression for the bases are. Here we have a base plus water gives hydroxide plus this. So the ionization constant for this is written in the concentration of these products. This is the base ionization constant, that is Kb, refers to the equilibrium constant for the ionization of a base. We can say that a strong base implies a good proton acceptor, while a strong acid implies a good proton donor. The strong base implies a good proton acceptor. A strong base can accept a large number of these protons, and a strong acid can produce large number of protons. That is, it at the same time the strong base it becomes proton acceptor, and a strong acid becomes proton donor. In this case, in this reaction, the dissociation of weak acid or weak base in water is. Say we have taken the example of an acid here, CH3COOH, acetic acid. When the dissociation of this acetic acid takes place in water, it gives this CH3COO plus hydronium ion, and ammonia plus water it gives ammonium ion plus hydroxide ion. So this is simple equations for the dissociation of an acid. This is the dissociation of acid, and this is the dissociation of the bases in these cases. Now we have electrolytes. What is the difference between a strong and weak electrolytes? As we know, in case of this electrolysis, that is the electrolytic breakdown, electrolysis is the process of passing an electric current through a substance in the molten or aqueous state, thereby decomposing it. We have already learned from the lesson this solution is, that is, when in a chemical cell, electrochemical cell, current is passed through the electrolyte, and electrolyte is simply a solution which contains an ion, which contains any salts. So electrolysis is the process of passing an electric current through a substance in the molten or aqueous state, thereby decomposing it. Electrodes, electrolytes, and salt solution are the major components of involved in the process of electrolysis. Electrodes are the metallic rods which acquire positive and negative charge, yeah, which act as positive and negative terminals. Electrolytes are the solutions, salt solutions, which conduct electricity, and the salt solution are the major components in this. Electrolyte plays a major role in the process. Let us read more about it. In next lesson, inshallah, we will try to have the deep this discussion regarding these electrolytes. Here we have simply represented that strong electrolytes are chemical species that conduct electricity when dissolved in solution. And weak electrolyte, an electrolyte that ionizes to a small extent in solution, is called weak electrolytes. In our next lesson, inshallah, we will discuss these electrolytes, uh, weak and strong electrolytes, and the ionization of these electrolytes in detail.